Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dan Nestle Show. I'm your host, Dan Nestle. You know, it is Thanksgiving 2020. Putting those two words together, Thanksgiving and 2020, feels like, it could be ever regarded as an oxymoron given everything that's happened this year. I don't have to recap too much, but let's just say COVID. Let's just say lockdowns. Let's just say elections. Let's just say, countless people who are suffering, who've lost their jobs, who've lost their lives. And, it's a serious time of the year. And typically I don't get that serious on these podcasts. And I'm not going to today. I just wanted to set up the context a little bit because it's got me thinking a lot that even though it is Thanksgiving 2020, it is a time for thanks. It is a time for gratitude. It is time to be grateful for what we have. And I wanted to take this opportunity just to do a mano a mano, I suppose, or just me and you guys, a conversation. Well, it's not really a conversation. It's me talking to you about gratitude and just do a little solo episode here for my listeners and for my for my own sanity, and just to tell you all that I am extremely grateful, thankful, humbled, and really optimistic about the future because of you, because of the fact that, six or so months ago, I wasn't doing this. Now I am. This is going to be episode, 29? 29 weeks of my voice going out to you and you hopefully listening to some or all of it. That's a lot to ask of people. And I realize and recognize the tremendous favor, or at least the tremendous service that you are performing for me simply by agreeing to put me in your ear or on the speakers near your ears or whatever it is, and welcome me into your own mind, or into your home, or into your car, or into wherever you're at for an hour a week. Sometimes less often, sometimes more. But anyway, the point is that it's not lost on me at all, especially this time of thanks and this time of gratitude. That got me thinking even more about gratitude and about being grateful. And I always wondered why there's no E in the word gratitude. Why is it G-R-A-T and not G-R-E-A-T? And same with the grateful. Why is grateful G-R-A-T and not G-R-E-A-T? Because gratitude and being grateful is really, truly great. I was told and kind of, I guess, educated as a kid and growing up that great is a really crappy adjective because it's a cop-out. There are a lot of better words to use, but you know what? Sometimes there aren't. Great is a great word, and I feel great for saying it. And I feel so great about it that I think we should call gratitude gratitude, and we should call gratefulness. Well, we should keep calling it gratefulness, but maybe gratefulness. I don't know, but we should put an E in there because just to indicate how great it truly is, and how important it is to our lives. So what's so great this year? I mean, I gave a pretty somber setup to the episode and, talk about all the context that we're sitting in here that isn't so necessarily so wonderful. But what is so great that makes me want to put the E in grateful and the E in gratitude? It's been a journey this year. People who've been listening to my show so far would know that, it started with a lot of fear. It started with an imposter syndrome that was hard to shake. And it started with some really incredible people who pointed me in the right direction, who helped me listen to myself and kind of get over some blocks and push the button. Not going to recap that whole thing now. But no question that I am incredibly grateful to all of those who've played a role in that process and in that journey of mine, in that journey that I'm still on. And that's kind of what I wanted to focus on, is the journey that we're still on, and the present progressive of it all, journeying, the traveling, the evolution of me and of you, I suppose. I hope in this time of craziness that we're in, and what is it that's been changing? What is it that I should be grateful for? And anyway, I've been reflecting on all that. And there's too many people to name for sure. I mean, I don't want to do a very long and lengthy Emmy Awards style. I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my wife, although I want to thank my mom and my wife. But, it's not where I want to go with this, because frankly, I want you to listen a little bit. And I know that I will lose you. But where I really want to go is to say that I'm really incredibly grateful for the connections that this whole year have yielded, and the connections I've been making, and the people who have been so gracious as to connect with me. And you know who you are, obviously. But if you happen to be one of my LinkedIn connections, one of my Facebook connections, one of my IRL in real life connections, one of my work connections, one of my family connections, I throw around the word connections. It is that human bond that we share, whether it's digital or whether it's in person. There's something to it. They vary in strength. They vary in kind of importance, I suppose, here and there, depending on where you are in your life and the timing. My dog in the background, you might hear her. I have a connection with her too. That's for sure. And I'm not going to edit her out of this episode. I'm just letting it go today. Those connections are just, increasingly important to me, all of them. And there's a couple of reasons why. I mean, first of all, the journey of this year, I don't think would have been possible, or I certainly wouldn't have had the same kind of experience had I not really been building a network of connections over the years, mostly on LinkedIn, but certainly in other places, people who I've been really close with and some who I haven't, but all of whom have decided to, at least for a moment in time, give me their trust and push that button that said they connect with me. And I guess the reverse is true also. A lot of folks who have contacted me and I said, yes, sure, I'll connect with you. Now we all have our problems with LinkedIn, with the platforms that we're using to connect. We can go on a litany of why we should or shouldn't accept invitations, or how we should go about sending invitations, whatever. That's not the point of this the point of this whole thing is that just the act of connecting, and the fact that people are gracious enough to join me in one way or another, I think it's an incredible thing, and I think it's worth shouting out and highlighting, because it's not something that used to happen in life. We didn't used to go around and just kind of walk around the street and say, hey, connect with me. Here's my business card or whatever. Just didn't happen. Obviously, we didn't have the technical capabilities to do that. But of course, now we do. Now we can just the click of a button get somebody to actually be our friend. Which certainly makes you want to redefine friend in some cases. But we can connect with people. We can get access to their life and give them access to ours in a way that was unheard of, not that long ago. And it's easy to forget what a risky act that can be. Risky in that you don't know who you're opening up to, but also you're putting yourself out there every time you make a connection. And if you think deeply about it, you are opening yourself up in a way that you may not be aware of. You're basically giving permission to somebody to see everything that you write or you post or you create, within that particular network. You're allowing them the capability of then passing on what you're doing to others whom you may or may not know. It's actually a big risk. It's a big leap of faith, more like. But I'm really encouraged because, there's so many connections that are being made. And I think it's been accelerating lately. And rather than call it a leap of faith, I would call it an act of good faith to make those connections now, because it just says to me that the people I'm connecting with, at least, have a certain kind of optimism, a certain kind of positive feeling that, connecting with me will be a positive or will yield a positive result in their life in some way, even in a very, very small, minuscule way. And that's the way I feel too. I feel that when I reach out to someone and I connect with them on LinkedIn, I am expecting something positive to come out of that connection. Doesn't have to be material positive, but certainly karmically, if we're going to go in that direction, it will be a positive development, for the most part. I'm sure there's always a dud or two here and there as you make connections, but in the thousands of people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn, I am just, I don't know, every day I'm impressed or floored or humbled, whatever, all of those things and more, because whenever I put myself out there, I see people commenting, liking, sharing, enjoying things that I do, interacting with me, people who I don't know very, very well, who are saying, I appreciate this. Now, I do the same thing all the time. I see things that I like. I see people that I like. I talk to people, like in quotes, in air quotes, I talk to people on LinkedIn or whatever platform I'm using. And, I'm getting something positive out of every one of those interactions. And that is a great thing for which I'm grateful. And I have a lot of gratitude because of that, and that's why it's appropriate, I think, on Thanksgiving to talk about this. Another part of that that I wanted to discuss is just this idea that I'm getting people to connect, or I'm making connections that are amazing lately. Not to say that the connections I've had for many years are not amazing, but like one after another, I am meeting people, through my outreach as I try to, expand my own network, as I try to expand my horizons and learn more about some of the businesses I'm trying to crack into, or learn more about podcasting, learn more about coaching, learn more about creativity, learn more about networking, learn more about, marketing even. I am strategically, directedly reaching out to people who I admire, who I think certainly have something about them that I am curious about or I want to learn about. And I am, again, grateful, and I'm very thankful and grateful that so many of these people are saying, yeah, please, let's connect. And as I connect, and now more and more, I'm actually, holding conference calls and video calls, getting on the Zoom, which is, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it a symptom of our age, or it's of this era, or if it's a great result of this era. Who knows? But I'm getting on the Zooms and meeting people and talking, and I'm discovering how amazing, by and large, the folks who are connecting with me are. I'm not saying that to compliment them necessarily. I mean, I'm absolutely grateful for it. I'm saying it because there's a consistency of, for lack of a better word, quality among the people I'm connecting to. And somebody asked me about this morning, and that's what kind of spurred me on to talk about this a little bit. Is that, geez, you're connecting with so many people, she said. You're connecting with so many people, and, you have all these meetings set up, and look at that. You have podcast guests booked through, March, April time, which I do incidentally. How are you doing this? Like, how why so many people? So many great people. And I thought about that for a second. I think, and, of course, I tend to naturally think people have something to offer and people have good stories to tell. That's kind of the foundation of this podcast. But really, I realized something. I realized that, well, it's not random. There's not really a coincidence involved here. There's not really some special, crazy, alignment of the planets that's making my outreach choices, like my choices of people to connect with, better or worse than anybody else's. It's just that I've been connected to great people. Full stop. I have been connected in some cases, since the beginning of LinkedIn, 2003-ish, 17 years, I've been connected to some amazing people. So naturally, when I look around and see who is out there who I would love to connect with, I already have this base of people who are at the highest levels, not necessarily the highest levels of their career or the highest levels of wealth or stardom or fame, not like that. They're just good people. They are just great people, people who care about their networks, people who care about their professions, people who have interesting things to say. So naturally, the people that they connect with, are either are already selected by the people who I've already selected. So that compounded selection, obviously as you get further and further out from yourself, from that center of your network, when you get to your second, your third degrees of people in the network, it's not, it gets more and more kind of, I'm not going to say sketchy, but it gets less consistent. But at least, for the people who are connected to everyone that you trust, or those first degree connections whom you've built over time that are already excellent people, it's not a surprise that I'm getting more good people. It's not a surprise that I'm finding even amazing people who I may not have had the bravery to reach out to in years past, whom I might not have felt worthy of reaching out to in years past. As we've discussed on this show before, I've certainly battled some of my own demons with imposter syndrome and credibility and so on. But now it's very different. Now I'm looking at these people who are accepting my invitations, and again, the words I can use: grateful, gratitude, humbled. It is an incredible experience, and a validating experience in some ways, but an incredible experience. And it is to those people this year, Thanksgiving 2020, so all those people, the people whom I'm connected with, the people who are accepting my invitations to connect, the people who are joining my network, it is to all of them and all of you that I extend my gratitude, my gratitude, my gratefulness, my thanks on this Thanksgiving Day. And I surely hope that you all do the same. I surely hope you pass it on. You think of how lucky you are, or how fortunate you are to have incredible people around you, and take this opportunity to thank them for getting you where you are today. There's a reason why coaches and teachers and mentors of all shapes and sizes recommend doing some gratitudes every day. Say what you're thankful for every day. Say what you're, write down a couple things that you're grateful for or thankful for every day. Now, I'm not going to say that I do that every single day, although I try when I remember. But there's a reason we do that. It is extremely meaningful. It's meaningful to not only to yourself, but it's also meaningful to those people or those events that that you are grateful for. And to wrap it all up into one great big holiday that has a lot of amazing food and, camaraderie. And, this year's a little bit subdued, but still, it's all baked into the name of Thanksgiving. I think it's an incredible thing. I think it may be my favorite holiday of all time now. It's come to be anyway. And, for all of you for that, on this Thanksgiving, I just say thank you. And I am really looking forward to the great things that are coming, not only on the Dan Nestle Show for, the next couple of months and into 2021, but for all of you, for all of us, as we turn the corner, get out of this, crazy time. There's sure to be some tough spots ahead, but it really looks like everything's moving in the right direction. I'd like to think that anyway. I, for one, am extremely optimistic that, a year from now, when I do a Thanksgiving podcast, I will be thanking the same people likely for the same things, but the context will be entirely different. And hopefully I'll have even more to say. But for now, thank you. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time on The Dan Nestle Show. If you enjoyed this episode of The Dan Nestle Show, please head on over to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or the podcast player of your choice to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. And please don't forget to spread the word. Thanks for listening.